Hey, and welcome into the Big Ten Huddle. We are presented and brought to you by FanDuel, part of the Bleav Podcasting Network. We appreciate you being here, and we appreciate having Zack Guggenheim with us back again. He's not fired. There was the thoughts of the suspension. There was the thoughts of the firing. He's like Luke Fickell. Even when you think he's gone, he's still going to stick around. It's Zack Guggenheim with us.
I don't know if I should be honored or threatened when you say that I'm like Luke Fickell, because he's not good.
Is it? Well, I didn't say you weren't good. I just said that people in the chat thought you were fired last episode.
Oh, no.
Or suspended. And, Chris McIntosh comes out and says Luke Fickell isn't fired. I am announcing that you are now not fired.
Oh, I see. I see the connection now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like we're often open about when I'm gonna not be here with the people, with our adoring fans, and somehow whenever I'm not here, it's like, oh, he's suspended or he's fired. I'm a little surprised by this.
Now, people like drama, so it's just like with the head coach firings.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I will say that I do think, based off the results of one of the games this week, I do think we will have maybe not a firing, but pitchforks and fires outside the house of one of the coaches if they do in fact lose. Actually, whichever coach loses, I think fans will want fired.
Oh.
Because it's already kind of started with both of them. So if they lose...
Oh, is it Matt Rule? And no, because they're playing Northwestern.
No, Nebraska would like to hold on to Matt Rule.
Who are you thinking?
We'll get to it.
I know who you're talking about.
Don't spoil it, Zack. Don't spoil it.
Oh, hey, there's breaking news. I'm the dark horse candidate for the Penn State job.
Hey, you wouldn't have to move. They wouldn't have to pay a whole bunch of relocation fees. So
yeah, go back to Penn State. That's where I started ministry.
Got connections. So. You have the inside sources, right?
I mean, I did go in the press box once.
There you go.
Hey,
that's all you need.
Yeah, they fed me brisket. Yeah, I ate the food. It was very good food.
Thanks for being here, Kyle. We got Rafa here. What's up? He says Rutgers versus Purdue is do or die.
I don't know why, but I saw that and I immediately thought of Yoda. Do or do not. There is no try. Sorry,
I will say for Purdue, it is kind of do or die, because if they don't win that game, I don't think they have a winnable game left on the schedule if they don't win that one.
Yeah, let me get out my handy dandy.
Get your paper pop. There we go.
Yeah, I was gonna get my Josh Pate paper pop here. Yeah, Rutgers, Michigan, Ohio State, Washington, Indiana. Yeah, they're not winning another game after this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not a great situation.
Yeah.
Philip says Zack gonna spurn Kent State for Penn State. I don't know. Hard choice.
I unlike Penn State, Kent State might actually take me.
I mean, if you can help them to not be like Akron and not have the academic stuff happen, so they're eligible for a bowl game, maybe. Or Akron.
I mean, I think I could probably help them with that. I probably can't actually help them with the actual coaching of football, but
Max noticed that I have my Josh Pate tonight as well. I'm drinking my Zevia. So tried to make healthier choices in my life.
There you go. Hey,
it's okay.
It's good to be healthy. It's good to be healthy.
I would rather vanilla Coke, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. But I wish I were healthier, but I in my beignets all day mug, I drank a very thick hot chocolate, and it was delicious.
That's probably better than some other stuff you could drink. So anyway, hey, we got a big show. We got a big show to do here. So we have UCLA, Indiana to get to first, and then we'll get to Illinois, Washington, the Minnesota at Iowa game, playing for the pig in that one, and then of course we'll do Rutgers at Purdue, do or die, as Rafe says. Northwestern, Nebraska, followed by Wisconsin, Oregon, and finish it up with Michigan at Michigan State. Only 7 games this week, so it's going to be a little bit easier on us, but we will still cover each and every game. Zack, let's get to the first one here, which is UCLA at Indiana. A lot of people excited about this one. Kirk Cinetti said that they are treating UCLA like a 3-0 football team. They are not taking into account who they were before they fired their coach and things started to change. I do have a little bit of a hot take on that. Do you want me to start with that, or do you want to start with your question, Zach?
No, go for it. Go for it. You teased it.
I think it's disrespectful to Northwestern to say that they started after the Northwestern game.
Oh,
I think they started during the Northwestern game. I think Northwestern just beat them. I think Northwestern's a good football team.
Remember who said Northwestern might go to a bowl game this year, preseason? This guy. Just saying.
It's not a bad take. It's not looking like it. 5-2 right now. I ranked them on Sunday night, Zach. I don't know if you saw that.
I think I did. I was proud of you for that one. I think that's good. It's good on you because they are 5-2, and they've lost two good teams.
And every single SEC team is ranked. So why can't every single Big Ten team be ranked?
Yeah.
So anyway, this is a UCLA at Indiana.
We'll get to Northwestern.
We'll get to Northwestern here in a bit. But yeah, I think this is going to be a really interesting game. UCLA playing much better football. The last time they went and traveled, they beat Michigan State 38-13. Now, Michigan State has not really been a good football team the last few weeks, so take that with a grain of salt. But still, an away game going from one coast to the other side of the country. Not a lot of teams have been able to pull that off, easy team or not. And so this is going to be a very interesting one with UCLA looking like an improved football team, but Indiana, some have them ranked as the number one team in the country. So, Zach, what is your question going into this game that is going to be a key matchup or a key piece to this game for you?
Yeah, I think we have similar questions, but coming from different angles. So I think my question is about, can Iamaleava be able to navigate the pocket and escape pressure enough to stress Indiana's defense for the first time this season? Indiana defensively has been almost flawless. You know, if you go back to the Oregon game, they only allowed 13 points offensively. The other 7 from a pick 6. Nobody has threatened them offensively. Illinois didn't. Oregon didn't. Michigan State didn't. They have been, like, as much as we talk about Mendoza, it's been their defense that has just been stellar. Iamaleava has played with a renewed confidence. Quasi Gilmer, Mikey Matthews, like, they have really become a very good offense. And Iamaleava and his ability to escape pressure has been a big part of that. You saw it against Penn State. I think you've seen it in the past several weeks. And so I think the question is, I think Indiana will be disciplined, but can Iamaleava find ways to stress the defense in ways that nobody else really has been able to?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to think through that. If you go back and look, it was the quarterback for Old Dominion, Colton Joseph, that ran for nearly 200 yards on Indiana, in that Old Dominion game. So Indiana, if I'm not mistaken, they've not really seen, a scrambling quarterback like a Nico Iamaleava. They saw Mark Gronowski. However, he did get injured in that game. It was a little bit later on, but I wouldn't really categorize Mark Gronowski's running style as like a Nico Iamaleava. He's kind of more like a running back, kind of like a power running back type of guy. Nico is more of a shifty kind of guy who kind of escapes and can juke a few guys out. Not to say Mark Gronowski cannot. I'm just saying that that's more of Nico's game than it is Mark Gronowski's.
Mark Gronowski's jukes are they're a bit more stodgy.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. And I would say also Aiden Childs ran for nearly 50 yards on Indiana as well. You go back to the beginning of that Michigan State game, the quarterback run was huge for Michigan State on some of the third down, or was it third down or fourth down, but some of those late down attempts for them to be able to keep the chains moving there in the first 2 drives. So I think good on you to think through the Nico Iamaleava piece and, how much could his legs be something that Indiana has to overcome.
Yeah.
Stodgy jukes.
Thank you, Bubba. We appreciate that.
There we go. That's gonna be a new quote for the episode there.
That'd be on the thumbnail for the episode.
That's what we'll do. Yes. Dodgy jukes. Watch out. It's not even about this game. It's about a whole nother quarterback that was in a different game. But all right. So my question in this one is, so UCLA has improved in just about every area, in my opinion, since including in that Northwestern game. In that Northwestern game, not as much improvement. So you could argue the last three games was really when you had the most improvement. But even going back to like the beginning of the season, they have not really improved at all with their pass rush. They got good pass rush in the UNLV game, which helped them out a lot. So my question is, can UCLA get any type of pressure on Indiana enough to disrupt Fernando Mendoza? Because in my opinion, you can have great coverage in this game, you can stop the run in this game, but if you do not get pressure on Fernando Mendoza, then you are not going to be able to win this football game. The only way that UCLA is going to disrupt Fernando Mendoza enough is, well, I guess there's two ways. A, Fernando Mendoza doesn't come ready to play, and he's just doesn't look like his normal self. I don't think that's happening. So the only other way is that they get pressure on Fernando Mendoza. He throws a few picks. They're able to take the ball away. Zach, UCLA has been about the same stats in pass rush this entire year. You want to hear the stats for how many pressures they've got on quarterback from game to game?
I do.
All right. Utah, they had 7. UNLV, like I said, they had 15 in that one, so good game for them. New Mexico, they had 9. Northwestern, they had 7. Penn State, they had 8. Michigan State, they had 5. Maryland, they had 8 pressures on the quarterbacks. The first 3 games, they had 10 pressures. They averaged 10 pressures per game. In the last 4 games, they have averaged 7 pressures per game. So you could argue it's actually gotten worse, but I would say you started facing better competition the last 4 games. So
better offensive lines. Yeah, better offensive lines for sure.
Yeah. So any thoughts on the pass rush for UCLA?
Yeah, I mean, I think you pick a good one because getting pressure is going to be difficult. Because of UCLA's inability or weakness to get pressure, but then you're compounding that with the RPO action. Mendoza gets the ball out fast, and he's got the receivers to do it, right? Omar Cooper and Elijah Surratt they have been the second best receiver duo in the conference, if not the country. They have, I think you can make a case for Alabama being the second best ones, but Cooper and Surratt have just been phenomenal, and it's easy to be quick in the pass game when you have receivers that get open like they do. And Mendoza is so good at making quick decisions on the RPO game that I think even a really good pass rush would have a difficult time getting to Mendoza. We saw that against Oregon, right? They sacked him once. So I think that is probably the other matchup that will ultimately determine this game.
Yeah, and Fernando Mendoza, I mean, he's been fantastic all season long, so I'm not breaking any news here, but if there is an area where he has not been as good, which, breaking news, quarterbacks are not as good when they're under pressure, it's been when he's under pressure. He's only thrown 2 interceptions this season, but both those interceptions happened when he was under pressure. So if UCLA wants to try and impact Fernando Mendoza at all and try to keep him from just throwing it all around them, because he is incredibly accurate, nearly 80% completion percentage on the season. He's been doing a really good job of getting it to his receivers just where they need it, so that way they can continue running and get yards after the catch. But he has struggled, only 55% completion percentage when under pressure, according to PFF. So we'll see. Zach, what is your score prediction for the game?
So I have it a little closer than I initially thought, because I do think UCLA, while their pass rush has struggled, I think the rest of their defense has played well against other teams. And I do think Iamaleava is going to be a tricky challenge. And they've scored against everybody they've played since 3 weeks ago. And I think Indiana is really, really good. I still have them number 1 in my power rankings. I still have them number 1 in the country, above Ohio State. And I don't think anything will change my mind on that, even with a win over UCLA. But I think people are discounting UCLA. Like, I discounted them last week, and I shouldn't have, in their win against Maryland. So I think the Hoosiers win. I think they break the winning streak, but I've got a 10-point win, 34-24.
I think that you could definitely see 24 points for UCLA if they don't do a very good job of containing Nico Iamaleava. I think there's going to be more than 34 points scored by Indiana in this one. My score prediction is going to be 41-14 Indiana in this one. Even against teams last year that posed a good threat in different matchups for Indiana, Kirk Cinetti still had his guys prepared enough to be able to take them down. You look at some of the games they played against Washington and other teams that, did have some talent on that team. They were not, maybe didn't have the best record. Their record didn't indicate who they were, kind of like this UCLA team. I don't think their record indicates who they are. I still think Indiana is one of the most prepared teams, if not the most prepared team in the country, week to week. I think, Kirk Cinetti has these guys ready to play. Nobody's going to be taking this game lightly. And I think they know that right now the SEC is on Indiana's tail. A lot of people have them ranked number one, but if you look at the AP poll and stuff, Alabama's getting a lot of love. Texas A&M is getting a lot of love. And, it was just somebody I saw on Twitter, Bud Elliott, said that Indiana is going to finish as the 4 seed in the college football playoffs. And I thought, oh, okay, he just thinks that, they're going to lose the championship game and they'll get moved down. No, he said that he thinks that the committee is going to really take into account this, like who you've played strength of record thing, and Alabama and Texas A&M are going to get the nod over Indiana. And I think that Indiana needs to make sure that doesn't happen, which, you think about it, like 2 seed, 4 seed, really not that big of a difference. But I think Kirk Cinetti knows that in order to keep that from happening, these guys have to play well and kind of play for style points a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's a good thought. My only maybe main pushback would be I think I agree that Indiana has taken teams like Washington and Nebraska to the woodshed a year ago. Those teams didn't have nearly the juice though that I think UCLA currently does. And so I wonder how much momentum and progress really do they really do mean something. And I wonder how much UCLA's momentum will carry them. To your point though, and I think this is a detriment to UCLA. It is a 12 p.m. Eastern start time, and it's at Indiana. So I think it's going to be closer, but I would not be shocked between Indiana's preparation and the early start time for the body clocks of the Bruins. I could see that going your way with a 27-point margin.
Yeah, and I think, you look at that Michigan State game. Again, I'm not trying to take anything away from UCLA. I really like UCLA this season. I think they're just going to run into a monster here against Indiana. And nobody should come away from this one and be like, yeah, UCLA sucks. You should still consider UCLA a dangerous team when you play them, regardless of whatever the results are in this game. But you're exactly right. Going across the country, it's difficult. Yes, they did beat Michigan State down, but Michigan State's also given up 40 or more points, or average given up over 40 points per game in the Big Ten so far. So it's not like that was something that happened that has not happened to Michigan State already this season. They've not been good in Big Ten conference play. At least defensively, they've not been. So.
Yep.
So we'll see. Should be an interesting one. All right, let's see. We had some score predictions in the chat. Hello Dog says, I would take UCLA and the points. I would not blame you. Philip says, Indiana 45, UCLA 21. UCLA covers the spread. Yes, on FanDuel, this one is Indiana favored by 25.5, over under set at 54.5. I have Indiana covering. You have UCLA covering. So we'll see what that does for our scores. Illini Bubba says UCLA wins by 53. Obviously, yeah. they pull an Indiana versus Illinois there, and
wow. Wow.
Bold prediction there from Illini Bubba. All right. Illinois at Washington. Washington just coming off a loss against Michigan where they got it handed to him. And Jed Fish said that he didn't have his guys well enough prepared for that game. And so they're kind of going back to the drawing board a little bit this week. Damon Williams threw 3 interceptions. Washington is favored by 4.5. The over-under in this one also set at 54.5. Illinois coming off a bye. I think this is like the third team coming off a bye that is facing Washington. I think Maryland was coming off a bye. Rutgers might have been coming off a bye, I think. If there's a Washington fan out there, I know they know this because they've been talking about it on their boards a lot. But
Yep.
yeah, this
Ohio
is like
State.
Ohio State was
off a
coming
bye.
off a bye. Yes, exactly. So this is like their fourth or fifth team that's coming off a bye this season to play them, which is really, really unfortunate for Washington. And unfortunate for Washington because they just played one of the most physical teams in the Big Ten. Although they didn't look like it against USC, they definitely looked like it against Washington. Washington did have their left tackle go down in that game. And their next left tackle, that was their backup. So they were on their third string left tackle against Michigan. They really, really need for their left tackle, Carver Willis, to come back. They also need John Mills. It's going to be a key for me in this one. And unfortunately, they did lose their tight end, Cade Eldridge. He is out for the season in this one. But Quentin Moore should be back. Jed Fish said that it was really scary what happened to Quentin Moore last game, but turned out everything was fine, and he's been back to practice. So, awesome to hear that, and he should be back in the game. Zach, what is your question about Illinois at Washington?
I think a lot of this comes down to how does Luke Altmaier and the offense handle the raucous crowd and environment in Seattle? Because I think that is maybe the thing that would derail Illinois the most is if there were a signal caller that is inexperienced and that can't handle an environment like that. I think Washington has the edge in this game, as they should. Altmaier is a fifth-year guy, really, really good player. We've sang his praises almost all season long. And I think at that point, it becomes a bit of a coin flip because you're talking about a young gunslinger in Damon Williams with a really good core of receivers, with a running game that's been kind of so-so, versus Illinois, who has an experienced, really good signal caller with a really good group of receivers and a so-so running game. So I think it's a pretty even matchup. The question is, does Luke Altmaier, how does he handle the crowd? I tend to think he will do well, but that is my main question.
Well, yeah, there's just question marks about the offense overall, right? Even if this wasn't at Washington, you got Khalil Valentine, who went out the last game against Ohio State. He got injured. It's really good for Illinois that they are coming off a bye in this one because they got pretty beat up in that game. Caden Fagan, I believe, went down in that one as well. So if it was played next week, they may have only had Aiden Lawfrey back in that one. So it's going to be really important what Washington does with obviously their secondary to be able to go up against guys like Hank Beatty, Colin Dixon in this one, but also too you're going to need a good linebacker play as well. You could see a good game from Cole Rusk here for Illinois. Washington did not do a very good job of covering like the backup tight end for Michigan. They did not have Marlon Klein. I don't believe they had their second string tight end in that game either, but Michigan keeps finding these tight ends and Washington wasn't really able to cover them, and that was a huge piece of that game. My question for this game is going to be, will Jed Fish get Jonah Coleman in better situations to make bigger plays? I think this is one of the biggest talking points of Washington right now. I think everybody is talking about Damon Williams, that he didn't run enough. He only had 3 design runs last game. But guys, Damon Williams is 19 years old. This is going to be his 10th start of his career. We can't keep putting everything on Damon Williams. He needs support, and right now, you're not getting support from Jonah Coleman, and I don't think it's necessarily Jonah Coleman's fault. The offensive line has not been good, and your 2 best run blockers on this offensive line for Washington were Carver Willis and John Mills, the left side of your offensive line. They both went down. Neither of them played against Michigan. Now, it didn't really matter against Rutgers because Rutgers defensive line, sorry Rutgers fans, it's not very good, but in this one you really need to be able to go against this Illinois defensive line, which is good. It's not Ohio State level, I don't think, but they have really good pieces on this defensive line, and if they're going to want to be able to help Damon Williams out so that the entire game is not on his shoulders, they have to get Jonah Coleman running. Zach, do you know how many 10 plus yard runs Jonah Coleman has in the month of October?
I feel like it's like 2.
One. He has 1 10-yard plus run in the month of October.
That's not good.
Yeah, it was against Rutgers. He had one against Rutgers. I have not looked up the stats, but I'm going to guess a whole lot more running backs have had more than one 10-plus yard run against Rutgers. Coleman is still playing well. He's picking up first downs. He's doing a good job in goal line situations and like short yard situations. But in order to allow Damon Williams to have space to be able to do things and not just let teams contain him, Jonah Coleman has to be explosive. He has to hurt teams more. And it starts with the offensive line, in my opinion, but you also need to be creative to get Jonah Coleman the ball. Carver Willis has to be back for this game. John Mills has to be back in this game. You cannot go into this game with a third string left tackle. Otherwise, Illinois is going to eat them alive, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree.
So, all right. Well, what's your score prediction, Zach?
I think it really hurts Washington that they don't have a bye. And they got beat up against Michigan. Illinois did get a bye. I know it's in Seattle, and I know Illini fans will not like me picking them to win this game because of my track record. Although I've been pretty good this year in picking Illinois games. I'm picking Illinois to get the mild upset. I think it'll be high scoring, but I've got 31-27 Illinois.
Interesting. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm right there with you, Zach. I have Illinois winning this one as well, 27-24. I have them covering. I'm going to take the under in this one. You know, Jed Fish in his press conference, he talked about and he discussed the difficulties of managing substitutions. Oh, that's a terrible thing to talk about before you play Brett Bielema.
Guess what Brett's gonna do?
I would not be surprised at all if this is one of those games where Brett Bielema just has Jed Fish. I don't think Jed Fish is going to go crazy like Shane Beamer did, but I would not be surprised at all if this is one of those games where Jed Fish kind of just struggles with the substitutions and maybe they don't get the right guys in there a few times. Again, it's not necessarily on Jed Fish. It's just Brett Bielema's that good at it. He does such a phenomenal job of getting his guys to go right up to that edge of, you know, you're getting off, but you're also not getting off in time for the team to be able to run a play or to have enough time to make their substitutions, their changes and stuff at the line of scrimmage. So and he also said that he's still getting used to the Big Ten. It's year 2, and he's still getting used to the Big Ten because he said before when he was at Arizona, when he was playing on the West Coast, they were used to playing 75, 80 plays in a single game. Now, he said there's games where they are playing less than 60 plays in a game, and it's really messing with him, and it's really messing with his team because they are such a high-powered offense, and they do want to get out there and run and, you know, play so many snaps and do all that stuff. And so it's going to be interesting. I like the advantage in the coaching matchup here, Brett Bielema. I like the advantage of Illinois' offense over Washington's defense. I think Washington's offense is going to be better than Illinois' defense, but not by enough for them to be able to win this one. So I got Illinois.
Good pick.
All right, let's see what other people are saying. Doc is saying Washington. Philip says Illinois 35-20. Oh, I'm sorry. Doc said Washington 28-24. Our face is Illinois 30, Washington 27. Hello Dog says take Illinois and the points. Line above us says I saw something scary that Washington had won 22 straight games at home until Ohio State this year. Yeah, I mean it's completely valid to be worried about the home field advantage for Washington. It's a really good home field advantage. So, Philip says is Fish distracted by job openings? I don't know, Zach. Do you think a whole bunch of jobs are going to come after him?
Move along. No, I
don't think Florida's going to come after him.
No, but
because they just kind of had the Billy Napier experience with calling plays. I don't think they wanted to bring another play caller in.
Yeah, I don't think Florida will. I think there are probably a few bigger jobs that he could end up getting just because I don't think there's going to be enough great potential hires. So I wouldn't be shocked if he left. I wouldn't be shocked if he stayed.
I lean to him staying. I don't lean to him staying because I think that he would just say no to every other job out there. I don't think there's much of an appetite for play calling head coaches right now.
No. Well, I mean, they're starting to go after Sark for that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I said it on the last episode. I said, I mean, I don't know if you agree with this or not, Zach. I don't think a play calling head coach will ever again, unless the Big Ten changes a whole bunch. I don't think they will ever again win the Big Ten.
Yep. Well, I
There's
mean,
too much parity. It's too good of a conference now. And how much you have to be a good coach with how many good coaches there are in the conference. I'm not saying you can't be a good coach. You're just distracted with play calling, so you can't make every single decision you need to make. Sorry, I cut you off.
well, and I think it's because the game has changed so much. You have to be more of a CEO. I mean, that's what Ryan Day learned just this past year in hiring Chip Kelly. You can't just be focused on the offense. You have to be focused on the whole team. And like I like Jed Fish. I think there are things I don't like about him, and one of them is the fact that he's still calling his own plays.
Yeah, and I would love to say that everybody just needs to copy what Ryan Day did, but you know who everybody actually needs to copy because Ryan Day copied him first. Eli
Who is that?
Drinkowitz.
Eli. That's right.
Remember they went to that bowl game and Eli Drinkowitz got up there and started talking about how good it's been for his team and everything else. And then right after that Missouri game, Ryan Day.
That's who I want Penn State to get. Is
Yeah.
Eli Drinkowitz. I think he's the one hire that I think I would be like, that would be good. That would be worth firing James Franklin for.
Maybe. I think there's a couple other guys too. I would still take Matt Rule. Alumni. He knows that place. I think we're gonna see a like an influx of alumni being hired by places because you look at Jeff Brom, he's not going anywhere. You look at Clark Lee, he's not going anywhere. Like there's so many alumni right now that are working at their school. And I think coaches, like schools, just want to hang on to their coaches right now so much.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I don't know. I have mixed feelings on Matt Rule, but
yeah.
I just want to point out we have a DK sighting.
We were just saying we need a DK back in the chat.
Yeah. What is this football game you speak of? And then
he's not happy with my Illini shirt in the background. That's okay.
He's not, but that's all right because he sees this and he
sees the scruff.
No, I was gonna say it's not. It's mostly clean shaven. Mostly.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I probably missed a few.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Yeah, we miss you, DK.
Thanks, DK. We'll have you on an episode here soon, man. Last thing I'll bring up, John Mandock says Illinois needs this game if they're going to try to make the playoffs because it would be their third loss in the league. Teams are going to have to keep up with Michigan. They only have one loss. Well, Michigan has two losses. They lost to Oklahoma and USC. But I do think that right now there is a race to see who can only finish with two losses, right? USC, Michigan, Illinois, Washington. One of those teams is going to lose this weekend between Illinois and Washington. So, as much as Illinois needs it, I think Washington needs it as well if they want hopes to make the playoffs. I think if Illinois does get it, I mean, they have a really good shot at making the playoffs because their final games are Rutgers, Maryland, at Wisconsin, and then Northwestern.
Oof.
So, I mean, all four of those are very winnable.
Mm-hmm.
I guess not Northwestern. Northwestern's better, but still.
Northwestern's getting good.
Yeah. So, Dylan's rooting for Louisville. No surprise there. Jeff Brom fan. All right, let's move on to do remind you, please do like and subscribe if you're here with us. We appreciate you being in the chat. If you're watching after the fact, please do give us a comment of what your thoughts are. Liking, subscribing, commenting, it really helps our videos out. The algorithm helps them out. And honestly, if you like any creator that you listen to, please, even if it's just like hi or something like that, just comment on their videos, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. It really does help out the videos so much, and we appreciate it, and I know other creators appreciate it as well. So thank you for doing that. I don't know what the like count is right now, but Philip says only 6 likes. So yeah, let's get those likes up if we can. Really appreciate everybody doing that. Even if you're watching on your TV or something, get on over to your phone, like it up, help us out. We appreciate it. All right.
My dad's watching on the TV right now. I know that for a fact. He told me so. So like the video, Dad.
There you go. Yeah, go on over to the phone. Just go, you don't have to watch the video on your phone. Just hit the like and move on out. So we're going to see like a spike in a number for 1 second and it's going right back down. All right. Minnesota at Iowa. Zach, do you like playing for the pig? You like the pig?
I
The
love
Floyd of
pig.
Rosedale?
I love the pig because I love bacon. So yes.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I like this trophy a lot, and I think this is one of the great rivalries of the Big Ten. So very excited for this game. I think this is the best game in the Big Ten this week. You think of the rivalry aspect of it. You think both teams here are 5-2. I mean, we talk about Illinois and Washington being a playoff type of game. Minnesota, Iowa, playoff type of game. I think they have harder schedules than Illinois, so I would take Illinois there a little bit with it being there at the end. But I think definitely that this is going to be a good one. There we go, Michael. I'm one of the 6. There we go. Thank you. Helping us out.
Thank you, Dad.
He really did go to his phone. He sent a chat message and everything. So Dave says it's bacon weekend. Love it, Dave. Love it. Well, Zach, I will ask your thoughts on the trophy first, and then give me the trophy, the rivalry. Give me your thoughts on that, and then give me your question.
I mean, it is. I still think the Axe is the best, but in terms of Iowa's rivalries this year,
you're saying the best trophy or the best rivalry?
The best trophy. It's a freaking Axe.
Yeah, it's a really cool trophy.
Yeah, and no offense to Iowa fans, but you're not playing for an Axe. But you are playing for something that you could kill with an axe.
There you go. I was gonna say, but you are playing for bacon.
So if Minnesota wins both, that would be ideal, just so they can slaughter the pig. But my question is really, can Minnesota's defense force Iowa and Mark Gronowski into mistakes? That's my big question, because I think if Iowa plays ahead of the chains, and they're able to get 3-4 yards the way they typically do, the way they push the pile, they get push on the offensive line. I think it's going to be really hard for Minnesota. The way Minnesota beat Nebraska was they caused a lot of pressure. They were able to control the line of scrimmage. I am a little concerned.
They played Iowa ball. They played Iowa ball with better passing attack.
Yeah, I'm concerned. As good as Minnesota's offense, like Drake Lindsay, I think is a future star. I think he's already a star. I think he could be a future superstar in the Big Ten as a quarterback. I just am concerned that it's not going to matter, because unless if Minnesota's defense can find ways to put Gronowski in tough situations.
Yeah, good thoughts there. I think that Gronowski is a big key of this game. I think overall the key is just the running game, though, for Iowa and how that's going to work out. I do think it's interesting with Mark Gronowski having the knee injury, not as much mobility, but he seems to be running just fine anyway. My question is, what can Minnesota do to stop Mark Gronowski from running on them? And I really extend that to just really the entire Iowa team, because it really is just a whole team effort at this point for running and rushing on the other team away from them. So, Zach, I have a interesting comparison here. Are you ready for it?
Go for it.
Mark Gronowski is the first Big Ten quarterback to have 10 rushing touchdowns coming into Week 9 since. Are you ready for this?
Braxton Miller?
No. Adrian Martinez in 2020.
No.
Yep. He was the last Big Ten quarterback to have 10 rushing touchdowns entering Week 9 in a season.
My brain is just...
I'm sure Iowa fans and Nebraska fans just love that I made that comparison.
Click off. Anyway,
no, I even though Gronowski, he has less than 300 yards rushing on the season, he has just been the situational runner for this team that has done such a good job of picking up first downs, getting touchdowns. Right now, he's tied among quarterbacks in the Big Ten with rushing first downs. Damon Williams and him are the two ones there. Damon Williams, obviously, another guy with a little bit of a different running style than Mark Gronowski, but Mark Gronowski is going to, fight, get those yards every single time. The most rushing yards of the season against Minnesota Minnesota faced Purdue, and Ryan Brown had his most rushing yards of the season against Minnesota. But the issue was what? he threw 2 interceptions in that game.
Mhm.
So I think what you're talking about with turnovers and everything else is very apt in this game. Also, when you consider that Mark Gronowski has had 1 interception thrown in each of the past 3 games.
Yep.
So Minnesota's going to need to stop Iowa's many rushing weapons, and they're going to need to figure out a way to attack this offensive line because, yes, Minnesota did a great job against the Nebraska offensive line, but the Nebraska offensive line is, Alvin and the Chipmunks compared to, what this Iowa offensive line is. And Iowa is trending to possibly be the best offensive line in the country, and it's going to be very, very hard for Minnesota to be able to defeat them.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right, what's your score prediction?
I think Washington, or not Washington. I think Minnesota has gotten a lot better from week 1 to now, which makes a lot of sense. But I think based on what we've talked about, remember a year ago, Minnesota, I think, had a lead at halftime. They looked like they were ready to win this game, and then Iowa ran away with it. Obviously, Caleb Johnson had a big part in that. But I mean, they won by multiple scores in Minnesota. Now you've got a 3:30 kick at Iowa. It's going to end. I think it'll end in the evening, right? Like lights will be coming down. So like it'll be a raucous environment. I don't love this matchup for Minnesota, and I really don't love that it's in Iowa or in Kinnick. So I've got 27-17 Iowa.
What's that? Is that you're taking the over then in that one. So
Yeah.
Iowa to cover, taking the over. This did get moved to 8.5, so over a touchdown in this one, which is kind of telling to me. Obviously, 7.5 would be over a touchdown as well, but it's telling to me that this 1-point line movement here kind of means a lot. The over/under still set at 38.5. I'm going to take the under though. I think that both of these two teams, Minnesota has the better offense, but I don't think that Minnesota is going. I say they have the better offense. They have the better passing attack. Iowa has the much better running attack, but Minnesota has the much better passing attack, right? So it kind of comes down to which defense is going to be more, apt to stop what the other offense is good at. And in all my years, Kirk Ferentz has done a better job of getting his team to stop Iowa than Minnesota has his team to stop Minnesota than Minnesota has to stop Iowa. PJ Fleck beats Nebraska like nobody's business. Iowa, unfortunately for Minnesota fans, beats Minnesota like nobody's business. So I think PJ Fleck has 1 win against Kirk Ferentz in his career, and I don't think I see that changing this game. I have Iowa winning 17-10, but I will say if Drake Lindsey does show out and just have one of those games, right? I've been giving him high grades. He hasn't had the biggest yards or the most touchdowns, but if he comes out in this one, man, and has like 2 touchdown passes, over 250 yards passing, I don't think that's going to happen against Iowa's defense. But if it does, this is a game that Minnesota can very likely win if that happens.
Yeah, I know it may not seem like it from my score. I thought about picking Minnesota in this game.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, but I just think I got to give Iowa props. I know I'm known as the Kirk Ferentz hater and the Iowa hater of the two of us, but they came back to win that game against Penn State, who looked rejuvenated. Real props for Gronowski for toughing it out. And here's something that we should keep our eyes on. I know we kind of wrote Iowa off for the playoff, but if Iowa beats Minnesota, they get a bye, and then they get Oregon at home, at USC, Michigan State, at Nebraska. I think there is a chance. I mean, it's slight. There is a chance though where they go 10-2, upset Oregon.
I mean, there's a chance, and they're good enough to do it, right? Like there's a chance, and they're good enough to do it. But I just don't think it's likely enough. Like
I don't think it's likely, but with that offensive line and that defensive line.
Now, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, the offensive line, defensive line, and the fact that Oregon has to come to Kinnick.
Yeah. And I was going to say, if it's almost like if they weren't home games, you could kind of argue this a little bit, but even if Iowa loses 3 games and they go 9-3, which is what I've been saying this whole time, they're going to go either 7-5 to 9-3, somewhere in that range. Then this team is going to, they should be considered for the playoffs if that happens, but they won't be because nobody will say they have an impressive win. And Penn State could have been that impressive win, but and Penn State's still a talented team. They just don't have anything impressive they've done this season. So
yeah, perception's gonna kill them.
Yeah, but that's so hard. I mean, you're going at USC, at Nebraska. Yes, you get Iowa at home, but that's just such a tough end of the schedule. Therefore,
you mean Oregon at home?
Yeah, Oregon at home. Yeah, thank you. So,
Yep.
All right, don't have time to go through comments in that one, but I saw a lot of you guys' comments and appreciate you being here. Dave says he gives 5% chance for the playoffs. Yeah, that's probably about what I would give. So appreciate you guys being here. A lot of really, really good comments, really insightful. Appreciate all of our Minnesota fans that get in the comment section. All right, Zach, riveting game here. Everybody's been waiting for us to talk about it. They've been talking about it since the start of the episode, so we might as well talk about it now. It is Rutgers at Purdue. Rutgers favored in this one by 2.5. Listen, if Purdue is going to get a win in the Big Ten this season, it is this game, in my opinion. And that is nothing that I'm, talking bad about Rutgers for. It's just neither of these teams have a win in the Big Ten. Excuse me, neither of these teams have a win in the Big Ten this season. Purdue has a really, really tough schedule to end the season. I don't see a win there and the rest of the way. So if they're going to make that happen, they have to be able to get the win in this one. But in the same way, Rutgers has to get a win. I do not think those fans are going to be happy at all with Greg Schiano if they do not get a win against Purdue here. This is a Rutgers program that, yes, has not been great, but they still have a proud fan base, and they are not going to be happy if you lose to the worst team in the Big Ten last year in Purdue, and looking better this season, but still not a great team this season in Purdue. Looks better, better disciplined in certain ways, but still turning the ball over a lot of penalties. Zach, what is your question for this game?
I think it's all about quarterback. Which quarterback will make the least amount of turnover-worthy plays?
Well, and which quarterback plays for Purdue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a big thing, too.
Is Ryan Brown out?
Ryan Brown got hurt last game. So.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
But I would argue Malachi Singleton is not all that different from Ryan Brown, in my opinion. And I'm not trying to disparage Ryan Brown by saying that. I just think that Malachi Singleton is he has the mobility that Brown does. Probably doesn't have quite the composure, but Brown is also kind of YOLO sometimes with the football, and kind of how it goes. So, but Ryan Brown did practice, it says. So we'll see. But another report is saying he's doubtful. So
okay.
Does that impact things a lot for you?
No.
So, all right. My question in this game is, can the Rutgers passing attack get back to what it was? Zach, the Rutgers passing attack, yes, they threw for 300 yards against Washington a couple weeks ago, but they were not very good against Oregon. Ethan Kaliak-Manis had a terrible, terrible game, could not complete a pass to save his life. It felt like even in that Washington game, they were able to pick up a bunch of yards, but they were not able to convert and put points on the board. Only 19 points for Rutgers in that game. And unfortunately, with this Rutgers defense, that's just not going to do it for you. Rutgers began the year on fire, scoring 34 or more points in their first 3 games. You had 34 against Ohio, and then it just kept going up and up and up. And then now Rutgers is not scoring very many points at all in Big Ten play. But what they still do well, Zach, I don't know if you know this, Rutgers is second in the Big Ten in 10-plus yards per pass play. Did you know that?
Yep.
They are only behind USC. USC leads the Big Ten in 10-plus yard pass plays. Rutgers, 82 of those on the season, behind only, is it 82? I might need to double check that. Doesn't sound right. But it's up there. Maybe 32. 32 sounds better. I'll double check to be sure. But in order for Antoine Raymond to be able to run well, they need to get more of those chunk plays. I'm not saying they need to get 30, 40-yard passing plays, but they need to get some of those chunk plays to be able to open stuff up in the middle so Antoine Raymond can run well. So, Zach, what is your score prediction in this game?
I've got 34-24 Rutgers. And here's something that I think I want to highlight. Let's see if I can find it here. So, you brought up Rutgers against Washington. Washington defensively is not terrible, right? They're 39th in total defense. They allow 332 yards per game, 5.15 yards per play. Not terrible. Like not great, but not terrible. For Purdue, you have to do some moving around. They're 79th. They allow 5.87 yards per play. They allow 373.4 yards per game. They're a significantly worse defense. And I think I trust Kaliak Manis and those receivers against that caliber of a defense over either Brown or Singleton. And I think their proneness to turnovers, even against a mediocre to bad defense for Rutgers.
Yeah, I think you make a lot of good points, and I think when you take into account what this Purdue secondary has been this season, this is the game for Ethan Kaliak-Manis and these receivers to go out there and just show. I would not be surprised at all if Ethan Kaliak-Manis has over 400 yards passing in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is a Purdue secondary. We give crap to Michigan State. We give crap to Rutgers a little bit. Wisconsin. Like these are not good secondaries in the Big Ten. Purdue, they were literally running into each other and falling down against Illinois. It was not a pretty sight. Now that's Illinois. That's a good passing attack, but still should not be having that happen. So my prediction, I am also going to pick Rutgers. Oh, I wrote down the wrong thing there. I'm also going to pick Rutgers, but I am going to pick it to be a closer game because I do think that we have seen some of the issues with the second half for Rutgers, right? So I would not be surprised if Rutgers gets out and they're up like 24-10 or something like that. But they come out and they only get a couple field goals in the second half. Purdue makes a comeback, but they're able to hold them off, and Rutgers wins this one 30-27.
I'm sorry, DK. I'm very sorry.
DK. Yeah. So I wanted to pick Purdue to win this one. Maybe that's why I wrote down Purdue by accident. I wanted to
Doesn't say I was shocked when you switched.
Yeah. No, I accidentally put the wrong one in there. So sorry about that. I had it right on my note sheet, but I didn't have it right here on the table thing. So yeah, but we will see. Going to be a good game. Ryan Willie here says, does Wisconsin get shut out? Again, asking for a very upset Badger fan. Wisconsin, 34.5 underdog. Zach, do you want to know something sad? And I'm not trying to make Ryan more sad here, but I'm about to.
Yeah, go for it. I mean,
do you know how much Oregon was favored by over Montana State, an FCS team?
I think it was 31.5.
27.5.
Was it? Oh,
they were favored by less than a touchdown over an FCS team. Then Oregon is favored over Wisconsin here.
Yeah. Do you want to know what my question is for Oregon and Wisconsin?
It's the same as Ryan's, so yes, go ahead and ask it.
It's will Wisconsin score?
Yes. It's a sad state of the Wisconsin program right now. I take no joy in it. Actually, I like Luke Fickell a lot. I take no joy at all. I am sad as well.
Listen, as the head of the Forcing Coaches to Retire podcast, fire Luke Fickell. I almost said fire Ryan Day, and I'm like, no, wrong one.
That was last season, Zach. That was last season. He won the national championship. It's okay. You can give him credit. Okay.
Yeah. This is the last one.
You're so used to saying it last year that you had to subconsciously say it again.
Fire Luke Fickell.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is probably where we need to have the conversation, and we will talk Oregon here in a minute. So if you're watching this as an Oregon fan, stay with me. I just think we need to have this conversation about Luke Fickell and the Chris McIntosh thing, with them essentially coming out and saying that they're going to keep Luke Fickell for next year, or he is going to keep Luke Fickell for next year. Do you buy it? Do you see any reason for that to be the case? What are your thoughts, Zach? Did you see it, I guess, first and foremost?
I think I did see it. I didn't realize he was saying that I didn't realize he was saying that he was keeping him for next year. I thought he was just going to keep him to the end of this year,
Well,
which I thought was
I
dumb.
will look it up one more time just to double check, but go ahead, I'll find it. Go ahead.
Well, I think if that's his statement, you need to fire the AD too, because this has gone on long enough. It was wrong to keep him on last year, but they did. Or sorry, it was wrong to extend him and give him a raise last year. It was malpractice to do that last year. If you give him another year this year, all you are doing is giving a torpedo to your football program. And those kids and those fans and that school deserve better than that. So if he does that, get rid of McIntosh. That's absurd.
Yeah, so I pulled it up right here, and essentially they're saying that I'm trying to find the exact quote in it really fast, but basically he's saying that like they just need more funding type of deal. Like they need to put more money into the program, which I do not completely disagree with. You are right now paying your assistant coaches about average Big Ten wages, and you're not exactly up there in NIL spending right now. So, like, how can you expect Luke Fickell to win with a program when everybody's injured and he doesn't have any money for coaches or players, right?
Counterpoint: Northwestern's 5-2.
Okay, yes.
I'm
but
not.
Northwestern doesn't.
I'm mad at Wisconsin.
I know, but I'm saying that
not you.
Northwestern doesn't have their entire offensive line. They don't have every running back in their room. They don't have their I guess their starting quarterback. Like they don't. They did not have a linebacker break an arm last game and have to continue to play the entire game even though he broke his arm. Right? Like this is the state of the Wisconsin program right now. I'm not arguing that he should stay. I'm just saying that like I do think there needs to be a conversation of like it's also been terrible luck for Luke Fickell with some of the injury stuff. Like, can we at least agree on that?
Yes, but then that begs the question, what's going on with their strength and conditioning? Because at some point, it's not just bad luck. This is 3 years in a row where they've had major injuries everywhere. Are you developing players? Are you helping? Like, are you doing the right things to help them be conditioned to play the game of football at this level? This is my frustration. Luke Fickell has been a failure in every aspect of this this whole experiment. Game planning, roster building, development, strategy, timeout management. He cannot do anything right now. If we're going to fire James Franklin from Penn State and we're going to give Luke Fickell a vote of confidence for next year, all Wisconsin is doing is saying we're okay with being mediocre to bad, and they have their heads in the sand.
I don't think it's Wisconsin saying they're okay with being mediocre or bad. I think it's Chris McIntosh saying, please work Luke Fickell, otherwise I'm going to lose my job if you don't work.
Yeah, he should lose his job now if he's going to back Luke Fickell. I'm sorry. And maybe I'm being too short-sighted in it. I hear what you're saying. I'm just like, this is to make a statement like this when you are legit incompetent is just insane.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, and just so I understand what James is saying, like you can't keep an arm from breaking with strength and conditioning.
No, but they had soft tissue injuries with like the offensive linemen and stuff. You're not.
Yeah,
I brought up that example, but you weren't saying it to that. I didn't think. Okay.
Yeah, like if you break an arm, you're out. Like you should. Right. But that's another question. It's like, why don't they have someone to replace that guy? And it's because of the strength and conditioning. It's because of the roster management.
Yeah. Well, and it's also because of NIL and not having enough money to go out and get players too, right? So I think overall, like I think Luke Fickell should be fired, just to say that. Like he should be fired. I'm not trying to argue that he shouldn't.
Yeah.
But I do think that Luke Fickell takes too much of the blame. Like I do think that some of this also needs to be attributed to injuries. I think also some of this needs to be attributed to the athletic director for not backing Luke Fickell with that financial stuff that he needed. Like, it's year 3, he's not scored a point the past 2 games, and now you're saying, okay, let's give him financial backing. It's like, you just paid a dude $8 million and didn't give him enough for assistant coaches, and didn't give him enough to field a team. Like, if you spend all your money on the coach, this is what you're going to get.
I think that is a really good point. And I think it goes back to when they fired Paul Chryst, they did it thinking a coach could save them without changing anything else. They're like, if we change our style of play, if we change who the head man is, that will give our program hope. But they never changed the philosophy on NIL and spending. And so, and the fact that they're waiting until now to do it after getting blown out twice without seeing the writing on the wall 2 years ago is malpractice.
Well, and some of this does need to, like, I know I just said don't blame Luke Fickell for everything, but some of this is also the head coach shouldn't take the job if he knows he's not going to have the financial backing, right?
Yep. Yeah. It's there's blame to go around, and like,
and maybe Luke Fickell was naive to that. Maybe he didn't understand, but still.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting situation. I know Ryan is in the chat and he's not happy at all. And Ryan, I feel your frustration, man. I am not arguing that Luke Fickell should stay by any means. And this might be worse news for Wisconsin fans, but I think it goes deeper than the head coach, the issues in this football program right now.
When your athletic director makes a statement like that, it absolutely does. It shows that he has no idea what he's doing.
Well, it shows that he is too afraid to lose his job than to make a change, number one, and it also probably shows that you don't have the money to fire the head coach.
Yeah.
And that could be a part of this as well. I think this is a part that not everybody is thinking of enough, which is if you don't have the money to fire the head coach, do you have the money to hire the next head coach and field a team for them? Because I think that's what's going on at Florida State right now with Mike Norvell.
Oof. How does Florida State not have money?
They're in the ACC.
That's how. Yeah. How does Wisconsin not have money? What are we doing?
They spend it all on Luke Fickell. I don't know. So anyway, let's talk about the game. So your question, we talked about that already a little bit. My question is more centered on Oregon, which is, we'll get to Nebraska, Northwestern in a second. My question is, can Oregon show that they are indeed the best offensive line in the Big Ten? Because, Zach, I have been saying that Oregon is the best offensive line in the Big Ten. Some people question it after the Indiana game, and I get that. I would say you ran into one of the best defensive lines and one of the best coached teams in all of the country. And so I would not necessarily say that you cannot be the best offensive line. If you want to say there are other best offensive lines right now, I get that. But I still feel like the Oregon offensive line is going to end the season as the best offensive line in the Big Ten. I don't think they're going to win the Joe Moore Award because, for whatever reason, SEC right now, and people love to vote for them for that kind of stuff. But I think this offensive line in Oregon has a really good opportunity to show their case here, because who did Wisconsin just play 2 weeks ago? Iowa, who is also thought of as the best offensive line in the Big Ten. And Iowa obviously shut them out 37-0. They had a good game in that one. Iowa ran for 210 yards. They had 4 touchdown runs in that game. They only gave up like 4 pressures in pass blocking in this game. Now, Wisconsin's not a great pass rush team, but they are a good run defense team. So, in my opinion, Oregon needs to go out there and run the ball all over Wisconsin in this one if they want to keep that that thought process of being the best offensive line in the Big Ten. To me, if they don't go out there and run the ball over them, I'm going to concede and say Iowa has the best offensive line in the Big Ten. Right now, it's neck and neck for me. I give the lean to Oregon, but I also acknowledge that this Iowa offensive line is really good too. And after having 2 common opponents now, if they outperform Oregon again with another common opponent, I don't think anybody can say that Oregon has the best offensive line in the Big Ten anymore. I think it has to be unanimously Iowa.
Yeah, no, I think Iowa will continue to have the best offensive line in the regular season. I think Oregon I think Oregon and maybe Ohio State have the potential to surpass them as the season goes on, as they continue to gel. But I do think here's something that's working against Iowa, like in that case from this game. The past 2 weeks, Wisconsin has had to play Iowa, who beat them up, and then Ohio State, who beat them up. And now they have to go to Autzen. I think you could make the case that Wisconsin might be so worn out that they're just running up and down the field on them all game long.
I don't disagree. I mean, you have some really good running backs there at Oregon, right? You have De'Aaron Hill and Jordan Davison and Dante Moore can scoot as well. Like, to me, you have every opportunity here to outplay Wisconsin and play better than them, especially with, like you just pointed out, you played two really tough teams back to back in Iowa and Ohio State. So we'll see what happens in this one. But yeah, Oregon's favored here by 33.5. The over under is 44.5. Zach, am I crazy to say that Oregon doesn't cover?
No, I don't think you're
Okay.
crazy. It's a big number.
I think Wisconsin covers in this one, and I think that Oregon wins 38-7. I know I'm going out on a limb and saying that Wisconsin scores, okay?
Yep.
But they did get close to scoring against Ohio State late in that game when the backups were in,
Mhm. Yep.
right? Like,
Yep.
does Oregon eventually put the backups in and maybe they get one, you know, there at the end? And let's face it too, like Ohio State didn't run the ball super well in that game.
Nope.
So,
Nope.
maybe they get a stop, they get good enough field position to get a field goal or something like that. I think it's 38-7. I think Dan Lanning is not gonna stress his guys too much. He's gonna try to get his starters out of there as quick as he can, because they do have tough games coming up with USC and Washington. Like, he wants that.
Yeah, so I changed my pick on this because I think I had it 34-3. I do not love. I just think Wisconsin is depleted. Ohio State probably would have scored more points had they not slowed down the pace of play. Again, you look at the drive chart. Is touchdown, field goal, touchdown, punt, missed field goal, and then I think it was field goal, touchdown, and then end of game. So they had nine drives, and they scored on 6 of them. They missed a field goal on one, they punted on one, and it was the end of the game on the other. So, like, they should have scored on 7 out of 8 drives. Oregon's going to have more than 8 drives. And I
just think so. Ohio State threw it quite a bit in that one. It wasn't like they were running it a whole bunch.
Yeah, but it was very controlled. And even with that, like Julian saying, I mean, the ball didn't hit the turf.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think Oregon's going to run the ball. I think they're going to have explosive runs. So I because of how beat up they are, and it's an Autzen. I've got 52-3. I think Wisconsin gets a field goal, and then I just think Oregon dominates the rest of the game.
Yeah. We will see. I tend to believe that Oregon will kind of let the gas off the pedal a little bit, because I don't think they want to, put too much energy into this one. But they did almost lose to Wisconsin last year, so maybe they want to put Wisconsin in their place. Who knows? Yeah. Well, they could pull an Oklahoma State here. Now, Luke Fickell didn't say anything about Dan Lanning and the money of Oregon, so I don't think they're going to do that. But you never know. Dan Lanning might just get into a mood.
Well, I mean, there's also the reality, like, if they're able to run the ball with that offensive line, like, is it a case where they have 5 or 6 drives in the first half and they score 35 or 42 points?
Yeah, just touchdowns the entire time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we have seen only like 2 drives in games this season, but yeah. we're talking about this game a lot. It's going to be a blowout. Wisconsin doesn't stand a chance, unfortunately, and we'll probably be talking about Luke Fickell and the whole saga and everything again next week. So,
Yeah.
Well, not next week because they're on a bye. 2 weeks.
Yeah. Unless if they fire Luke Fickell.
Yeah, if they fire Luke Fickell, we'll bring it up.
So. Emergency podcast.
As long as my kids do not have hand, foot, and mouth again, and I am not taking care of the entire family. Yes,
no.
emergency podcast.
Please not. Please don't.
We don't need that to happen.
No more sickness.
Yeah. So, hey, everybody, do want to ask you to please tune in for our episodes the rest of the week, as this will be posted on Wednesday morning, but Thursday morning, you will get Around the Big Ten. Got a good lineup of guests. Going to have Larry from 24/7 Maryland, Inside Maryland Sports over there. Going to have one of the guys from Hoosier Huddle, Indiana fan, first Indiana fan on Around the Big Ten. And then going to have Eric from over at the Ohio podcast. Couldn't have Eric on with Dylan because they just take over the entire show, so we'd have to dedicate an entire Around the Big Ten to them. So this one is going to be Around the Big Ten, not dedicated to Eric and Dylan, but we'll have Dylan on soon for that, and it'll be a good time. So check us out then, and then also check out Jeff. His episode's premiering at 9 o'clock on Thursday night on the YouTube channel, or you can get it on Friday mornings on the podcast. Jeff is going to be doing some fun stuff. He has a new segment where he is going to go over the overachieving and underachieving teams in the top 25 based on recruiting rankings, talent composite, stuff like that. He's going to look at all that stuff and give you some good information there, as well as his 5 picks for the weekend. Philip says only 16 likes, guys. Let's get that up. Yes, Philip is right. Please do get that up for us. We greatly appreciate it. All right, Zach, 2 more games. And this is a very interesting game, in my opinion. I think this is one that is not going to get talked about enough because people don't necessarily respect Northwestern enough, in my opinion. But I think this is a game that Northwestern has a very good shot to win this one. Northwestern at Nebraska on FanDuel. Nebraska is favored by 7.5. That line just moved earlier tonight. The over-under set at 42.5. And so this is going to be a really, really interesting game. Nebraska coming off that loss to Minnesota. They're not feeling great about themselves. Minnesota's feeling good about themselves, but they're also going up against Iowa. So that's a little bit of a tricky situation. Talked about that game already. But Northwestern, Zach, they started the season 1-2. Now they're 5-2. You know, we talk about UCLA's 3-game win streak. What about this 4-game win streak for Northwestern right here? This is a I had somebody say to me on Twitter, they said, isn't that UCLA Indiana game a better game than Northwestern Nebraska? And I said, no. This is a game that Nebraska or Northwestern is more likely to win than UCLA. Northwestern is on a bigger home winning streak, or is on a bigger winning streak overall, and the offense is playing better, similar to how the UCLA offense is playing better. The defense is good, and people haven't given enough credit. So this is going to be a very interesting game. I'm curious what your question is going to be.
Yeah, my question is, can Northwestern's pass rush affect Raiola enough to pull off the upset? I think this pass rush for Northwestern is underrated. They are deep, talented. You know, they're more talented than you realize, and they are deeper than you realize. And you look at the weakness of Nebraska's offense. I think the offensive line at times has been a major weakness and a major liability for the Cornhuskers. And what happens when Raiola doesn't have time? He tends to hold on to the ball. He tends to try to overcreate, and that makes problems for the Cornhuskers. And so I think there is a big key there. If the pass rush gets to Raiola, I think that makes it very, very challenging for Nebraska to move the ball and to make plays offensively.
Yeah, I mean, Northwestern has not had the most sacks this season, but they have got a lot of pressure on the quarterback. Just their edge players overall, they've gotten over 50 pressures this season. They have 5 different players with 6 or more pressures on the year. Kilbane, he was one that we hadn't even talked about going into the season, but he's been a really good pass rusher for this team. Aiden Hubbard has done his part. Antosaka has been, maybe you could say a bit of a disappointment compared to what we were kind of saying about him, but I don't want to say that because they have other players on this team. So I'm trying not to look at the individual player. I'm just trying to look at the team overall, and the team has done a good job of getting after the passer. They only have 11 sacks on the season so far. Minnesota got 9 last game on their own. So, that's interesting to think about. Northwestern going into this one with only 11 on the season, but I think this is going to be a really, really important game. This isn't my question, but I had a question similar to yours, and I actually changed mine because I didn't want us to pretty much ask the same question. But Zach, to me, it is imperative that Nebraska goes to their wide receivers more often in this game. They have when Dylan Raiola is hot, or when Dylan Raiola has pressure in his face, he is dumping it off to the linebacker and the tight end and the running backs a lot. It's not Drew Aller territory, Zach, but it's honestly kind of getting close to that a little bit. I'm not, Nebraska fans, don't come after me. I'm not saying he's Drew Aller, but there have been games this season where it kind of has been Drew Aller-esque. Zach, Isaiah Hunter has 14 receptions in the last 3 games. That's good. He's doing a good job. But Ja'Cory Barney and Dane Key, these are 2 guys that were expected to be star wide receivers for this team. They only have 10 the past 2 games. Dane Key had 4 targets and 0 receptions against Michigan State and Minnesota.
That's not good enough.
It's not good enough. I think you have to, and I don't even know if it's Dane Key as much as it's Dana Holgerson not getting the ball to his playmakers, right? Emmett Johnson has been a fantastic playmaker for you, but he's not necessarily been the playmaker catching the ball. He's been more the playmaker running the ball. He leads the Big Ten in rushing so far this season, but if they want to fix these sack issues, they have to get the ball out to their wide receivers more often. We're talking slants, we're talking out routes, things like that, to get the ball out in space so those guys can make it work. The 2 losses this season, Michigan and Minnesota, who were the 2 most targeted players in those 2 games? Do you know, Zach?
Oh, I'm going to guess Hunter is 1.
Hunter is up there. He is top 3, yes. He's second.
Oh gosh, is it Lindenmeyer? Is the tight end?
Lindenmeyer.
Yeah, Lindenmeyer.
Those 2 games, both Lindenmeyer and Emmett Johnson were 2 of the top 3 most targeted players. In the Michigan game, Lindenmeyer and Johnson were the 2 most targeted players on the team. To me, it's just not good enough. You have to be able to get the ball to your wide receivers. Dana Holgerson, he was talking about communication this week with it, so maybe that's a big aspect of something they need to work on. But overall, reactions from that, Zach, and then I'll get into my question.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is something wrong with the offense, and I think that it's something that Billy Tuesday, our good friend, mentioned this in the chat. It seemed like Holgerson was turning their offense around. I guess not. I think that
I do want to say I think it's been turned around overall in the season, but when it's not been turned around, that's when they've lost. And it's kind of what we thought going into the season, right? Is that if the offense doesn't play well, they're not going to win games, in my opinion.
Yep. And I think it's putting pressure on Raiola to find ways to create with his wide receivers. And that requires more time, and that means more sacks.
Right. And so, in my opinion, they have to figure out a way to get the ball out to those receivers and let them make plays, because as much as great as Tyler Warren was, and he was great, your tight ends are just not playmakers typically. You can't just get the ball to Lindenmeyer. So, All right. My question on this one is: will the combination of Caleb Komalafe and Joseph Hyman outplay Emmett Johnson? And you might think, JR, no way that's going to happen. Well, we got some stuff for you, okay? Hear me out, okay? Emmett Johnson, yes, he's the leading rusher in the Big Ten, no doubt. But both Komalafe and Hyman are top 10 in Big Ten each, are top 10 in yards after contact. In my opinion, they are the 3rd best running back duo in all of the Big Ten right now. You have Wayman Jordan and Eli Sanders, and then when Eli Sanders got hurt, you had King Miller. Wayman Jordan got hurt. So if you want to take them out of it, I think Northwestern has probably the 2nd best running back duo in the Big Ten right now, at least the way they've performed. Maybe they're not the most talented, but at least the production that they give you, they are the 2nd best right now, in my opinion. opinion, followed only behind Justice Haynes and Jordan Marshall from Michigan. Emmett Johnson has 352 yards after contact. Komalafe has 344. Joseph Hyman has 291. An underrated part of that Minnesota win over Nebraska, because everybody talks about the 9 sacks, and I talked about it too. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's a big thing you need to talk about. But Minnesota, Darius Taylor, he rushed for 148 yards in that game. Zach, do you know how many yards Darius Taylor had on the season going into that game before?
I think it was less than that, wasn't it?
It was 205.
Oof.
He had multiple games with less than 30 yards rushing. He had over 100 yards in that very first game of the season against Buffalo, but he had multiple games with less than 30 yards rushing. He hadn't played every single game, so going into that one, he only had 205 yards rushing. He had 148 rushing yards. It was Minnesota's first game as a team with 100-plus rushing yards in a Big Ten game this year.
Wow.
Northwestern has had 200 or more rushing yards 3 times this season. And that doesn't even include UCLA when they had 199 rushing yards against them. So one more, and I could say 4 over half the time. But, we had to probably have like one yard that wasn't counted that should have been or something. So, but
there you go.
Ruined the stat for me here. But all this to say, Northwestern has a legit rushing attack. And if Nebraska's not careful, they're going to get run all over again, just like they did against Minnesota. And Preston Stone, I don't think he's going to be the one to beat you, but this running back duo that is one of the better ones in the Big Ten, that is pretty underrated. It's kind of like the underrated Rutgers receivers, in my opinion. They're going to get you if you're not careful.
Yeah. And Preston Stone's been better.
He has been. Late. Yeah, he's not been moving the ball necessarily super great, but he's not been turning it over, which that's kind of all you can ask for when you have a really good rushing attack, right?
Yep. And, they have a receiver in Wildy that's
I like
good
Wildy
enough.
A lot.
He's a smart, ironically, a smart, good player.
They're all smart there, right?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, Zach, what is your score prediction? We've been talking Northwestern up in this one. What is your really fast? Steely Matt reposted the stream. Thank you for doing that, Steely Matt. Want to always acknowledge that when people do that on X/Twitter. So if you do that, please let me know. All right, go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, I changed my pick. I was going to go Nebraska, and then I think David Braun knows what he's doing. Last year was, setback, tough roster, tough schedule, but he is a darn good football coach. And that's nothing against Matt Rule, but I don't love the matchup for Nebraska. Like, I really do think this pass rush is going to affect Raiola, and I think the running attack is going to be a problem. And I think Preston Stone will have enough to be able to do a little bit of play action that's going to keep Nebraska defensively just a hair off balance. I like Northwestern in this one, 21-17.
So you're not buying what Matt Rule said about the players took Minnesota for granted?
No. I don't, and I don't love that he came out and said that.
Yeah,
if I'm
I
honest,
didn't love it either.
Because it's an excuse. It's like, well, if we had just played our A game, it's like, well, then play your freaking A game.
Yeah, you lost by nearly three touchdowns, dude.
Yeah,
Minnesota beat you. Accept it.
By the way, that's part of the reason why I don't think Penn State should hire Rule. If you're like,
yeah, I mean, it definitely annoyed me too. I'm falling for the alumni stuff right now, man. That's my thing. I'm falling for like all the alumni head coaches that are doing a good job.
Don't do it. Anyway, sorry.
I'm falling for it. I am. But
you can do what you want. But
so call me crazy. I am doing my best to not overreact to weeks anymore, Zach. I'm not very good at it because I do overreact a lot, as evidence of me just saying Northwestern has the second best running duo in the Big Ten. So somebody's going to probably fight me on that at some point. They're probably going to clip it or something. That's fine if you do that, whatever. But I Nebraska at home, they've been good at home this season. I know they lost to Michigan, but I think Michigan had their number, and Michigan under Biff Poggi is different than under Sherrone Moore. So, maybe that's what it is. But I I'm going to pick Nebraska to win this one. Low scoring game. I have Nebraska winning this one 17-14. And Nebraska fans give a huge sigh of relief at the end and say, holy cow, we may have to fire Matt Rule if we lose to Northwestern.
Yeah. Winner is bowl eligible, by the way.
There you go.
So
and hey, even though Nebraska's 5-2, don't take that away from them. That would be another huge accomplishment for them to go back-to-back bowl games.
Yep.
So, all right, last game here, Zach. We been going for a while, but this is our last game. Michigan at Michigan State. The rivalry game here, the battle for Michigan, whatever you want to call it. What do they call this rivalry? I forget.
It's Michigan. I don't care.
It's a Paul Bunyan.
Sorry, what? It's Paul Bunyan's axe, I think, isn't it?
No, it's not the axe. The axe is Minnesota. Wisconsin.
Oh, you're right. What? Gosh, what am I doing? Hold on.
I get another person yelling at me because I forgot the name of the rivalry. Did this last night.
Oh, it's the Paul Bunyan Trophy.
Paul Bunyan Trophy. Okay, so
not the axe.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I can't believe I just ascribed the axe to...
Well, Paul Bunyan, you think of the axe. So
yeah. Hey, John Jacobs, you know Muhlenberg. That's right. I got this yesterday while I was visiting Muhlenberg. So
there you go. We're gonna restart this really fast so that way when I clip this, it doesn't include me struggling with the name of the rivalry. So Michigan at Michigan State. Michigan is favored in this one by 14.5 on FanDuel. The over-under is set at 48.5. Playing for the Paul Bunyan Trophy in this one. I totally remembered that and did not had to think through that at all. But this is going to be a really interesting game, Zach. You saw some life from Michigan State last week against Indiana there at the beginning. Now, Indiana put the clamps on later on, and as one would expect for one of the best teams in the nation to do. But overall, I want to start with my question. Is that okay if we start with my question, Zach?
Go for it.
Okay. Can Michigan State replicate their play action and quick passing attack to outside the hash marks like they did against Indiana early on against Michigan and find success? All right, got more stats for you. Ready for this, Zach?
Go for it.
Michigan State has scored on the first drive of 6 of their 7 games so far this season. Michigan has lost the two games they lost. USC and Oklahoma both scored on the beginning drive of the game. Screens and quick passes were very effective against Indiana to begin the game, and screens were very effective against Michigan when USC and Washington played them. Now, Washington didn't quite have the athleticism at the offensive line to be able to help out, but they still did get 6 yards per reception in their screens. USC had 8.4 yards per reception, but the difference is that Maava was pressured 5 times when Michigan blitzed 21 times in that game. Michigan blitzed 11 times versus Washington, and Williams was pressured 13 times. So pressured more times than when they blitzed in that one. The screen game worked for Washington, but eventually they had to start throwing the ball over the middle. Cole Sullivan and Jimmy Rolder got interceptions in that game. 2 of the 3 on Damon Williams, and I think that this is a key for the game for Michigan to not be blitzing too much, so that way their linebackers can stay in coverage and not let Michigan State use the short passing game to move the ball down the field.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Thank you. I have more stats later on, but you can do your question.
Oh, good. Now. Well, my question is simple. Can Jonathan Smith circle the wagons after really a disappointing stretch? Because
winless in the Big Ten so far.
Yeah, I think there is a question out there. Is this team still behind Jonathan Smith? And I thought there was at least some hope for that in the beginning of the game last week, but I could see where even if they score first, I could see a scenario where Michigan just runs it up, in the first half. It's like 14-17-7, and that kind of breaks. It's like the straw that breaks the camel's back. Yeah, I think that's my. I just don't have a lot of hope, so that probably betrays my pick there. But I'm very very pessimistic about the team sticking with their coach right now.
Yeah, it's a interesting situation for Michigan State. I think that Jonathan Smith is kind of going under the same stuff that Luke Fickell did, not to the same extent with the injuries and stuff like that. But still, not an excuse. You need to win games. You have Aiden Childs, you have Nick Marsh, some of those guys. You need to go out there and win games. So. There are people asking about Justice Haynes. He's expected to practice this week, this report says, and that he was limited last week and started up, but did not go. So there is an expectation that he will play. And then Evan Link is apparently going to return this season, but he is not expected to play. He was the left tackle for Michigan. So, but Blake Frazier did play well in his replacement. And Michigan State, I don't think quite has the pass rushers that Washington does, so it wouldn't be like they have an increase of pass rushing or anything like that to go against. So Justice Haynes probably going to play, but we'll see. It's going to be interesting. All right. My fun stats to get to. Zach, do you know what kind of surface? I know I'm asking you a lot of questions tonight. I'm quizzing you. Do you know what kind of playing surface Michigan State has? Grass or turf?
I think it's grass.
It is grass. Do you know what the numbers are for Michigan this season when they play on grass than when they play on turf?
No, of course not.
On grass, Michigan averages just 125 yards, 4 yards per carry, and a half a touchdown per game.
Who did they play with real grass?
Oklahoma and USC.
Oklahoma has real grass.
Yeah.
Well, okay, wait, hold on. Time out.
What?
You just named their two toughest opponents, and you're saying it's attributed to grass.
I didn't say it was attributed to grass. I just said that that's the stats.
Oh yeah, you can make stats say whatever you want.
And they're playing on grass this weekend, Zach. So
yeah, and who are they playing?
Not Oklahoma, not USC.
Not USC.
Well, don't worry, Michigan fans. I'll give you some hope here, Michigan State fans. Sorry, I can't stick up for you anymore. The problem is that Michigan State is in the bottom 5 right now of rushing yards per game allowed, and they have given up, and they are also in the bottom 5 in rushing touchdowns allowed as well. It doesn't get much better when you look at the passing game either, as Michigan State has allowed the most passing touchdowns in the Big Ten, second most of Power 4 teams in all of college football. Zach, they are tied with, ready for it? Kent State.
Oh, Kent State.
Yeah, not good.
Wow. Not good at all.
They have given up 17 passing touchdowns on the season, as has Kent State. You know the Power 4 team. I'm quizzing you once again. Do you know the Power 4 team? This one's not that hard. Think of a really bad team that Oregon scored a lot of points against.
Oklahoma State or Oregon State?
Yeah,
okay.
Oklahoma State.
State.
Oregon State I don't consider Power 4.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they're because the Pac-12's dead. That's right.
Yeah. So we are not going to refer to Michigan State as Kent State on this episode. Don't worry. But it's definitely a comparison that I just made, and I kind of feel bad for making at the same time. So, Zach, score predictions.
I have 35-17 Michigan.
They're playing on grass.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think what was impressive last week against Washington, a couple things. One was, I think, their defensive performance against a very good offense. And I think part of it was, I thought Damon Williams played like a freshman. But I think too, Michigan, I think is playing more to their potential defensively, but also offensively. Like Underwood had a good game passing. Andrew Marsh starting to really shine at that receiver spot. And I think even if Haynes doesn't play, Jordan Marshall has been very, very good. And even if Michigan State does show up, I just don't think they have the horses, right? The last time Michigan State beat Michigan, it was in 2021, and it was on the back of a historic performance against one of the best running backs in the country that year, in Kenneth Walker. He's a really good back in the NFL. They got no Kenneth Walkers back there. Michigan's going to win 35-17.
I do think that if Michigan State wins this game, it's going to be a lot with Aiden Childs, right? Like this is if they are going to win this game, it's going to be because Aiden Childs is able to move, pick up first downs, kind of Mark Gronowski-esque a little bit with his, running ability to be able to get the first downs. And like I said, he did that at the beginning of the Indiana game, and he was protected pretty well. I mean, there were throws that were 15, 20 yards down the field that he had time for. It wasn't like he was trying to navigate the pocket a whole bunch. So I did want to give Michigan State credit for that. I said that was my position group I wanted to watch the most in the Indiana game, not because I thought it was going to help them win, but because I thought I need to see this for them to be able to have hope the rest of the season. And we did see it a little bit, rest of the game wasn't necessarily all that great, but at the beginning at least there was some good stuff. So I'm with you. I think Michigan State wins this game. I don't think it's going to be necessarily close.
You think Michigan State's going to win the game?
No, sorry, Michigan. I think Michigan's going to win this game. I don't think it's necessarily going to be very close, but I do think that Michigan State will cover. I have it at 31-17, and the line right before we came on here moved, so it is 14.5 instead of 13.5. And with it being 31-17, that gets it just barely under the spread there. So Michigan State covers. We'll see. Might tell you if you were betting on it to, take Michigan to cover, but 2 touchdowns in a rivalry game like this is a lot.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Zach, this was the game I was referring to earlier, that whoever loses this game, the fans will want to fire.
Yep. That made more sense as I thought about it more.
So. I mean, heck, some Michigan fans wanted to fire Sherrone Moore after the USC game.
I don't know why.
I think it was just because of the way they lost. They got bullied. Yeah. They got pushed around.
I think anybody who came into the season though that thought that Michigan was going to be like, I think Michigan can aspire to be a playoff team, and I still think they can be. But if you thought Michigan was not going to be a little inconsistent because of all the losses everywhere, you did not have the right perspective on this team.
Yeah.
And I know, like, and I'm not I'm with you. I think Sherrone Moore has shown some more warts as a coach, but I don't think USC is a good. I wouldn't say that that's the right take right now for Michigan. Michigan State, I also don't know if it's the right take yet because it's still year 2.
New athletic director though.
Yeah, I think it might be, he might be on the chopping block because of that. But
yeah, I think that's the worst thing that's happened to him. I mean, obviously the losses too, but all right, couple comments really fast. David gave us a super chat, so we'll get to that in just a second. John asks, is the ranking of the QBs members only exercise? I don't do it every single week because it just doesn't do enough numbers for me to warrant to do it every week. But if somebody asks for it, I'll do it. So John, I'll probably do that tomorrow night, and I'll probably have it premiere after around the Big Ten. So I'll go through and do the Big Ten quarterback rate. Do you guys like it when I do just Big Ten, or do you guys like it when I include the SEC too? Let me know what you want, and I'll do whatever you guys want. I watch the SEC enough that I should be able to do that as well. Dave, thank you for the $5 super chat. We appreciate it. The sad part is that Zach got the same thing wrong last year. I didn't remember that, with getting Paul Bunyan's axe and Paul Bunyan mixed up. How dare you, Ohio State fan? Well, how dare we have an axe and Paul Bunyan trophy? I mean, is this Paul Bunyan 10? Is this Big Ten? To
be fair, I did mention the axe as Wisconsin and Minnesota earlier in the show.
Yes, you did.
I was like, I know it's Paul Bunyan. I think I forgot.
Zach is up past his bedtime right now, everybody.
It is true. I forgot that the axe was Paul Bunyan's axe. And then I was like, I know it's a Paul Bunyan trophy. I just don't. So forgive me. I know my trophies when it's before 10 p.m.
Yeah,
Eastern.
That's the real kicker.
Yeah.
Washington, their weakness is playing on the road. Zach's weakness is being up past 10 o'clock.
It's true. I'm old, man.
Yeah. So
Someone needs to take me out of my chair and put me to bed.
People are saying looks like just the Big Ten quarterback. So
yeah. No, Philip. No.
Not doing that. There was one other comment in here from Joseph. Joseph, where's your comment at? I was gonna bring it up. I don't see Joseph's comment.
Oh.
Rats.
Should we
He was appreciating that you were giving some love to UCLA. I don't think you
Oh,
gave
yes.
enough love to UCLA the other day for his liking. So props to you for
Yeah.
giving some love there, Zach.
I did pick against them against Maryland.
There it is.
And yeah, UCLA, as a Buckeye fan, I am not excited to play UCLA. I'll just put it that way.
No,
Not
nobody should be
excited.
excited to play UCLA.
No.
They're a really good team right now. And Nico is
Yeah.
playing this weekend. There was somebody that asked about that in the recap episode.
Yeah.
So sorry I didn't mention that earlier, but Nico is playing this weekend according to reports. So
Good.
that's good news because
That is good news.
Nico, good quarterback. I don't know if I needed to say that, but yeah, good quarterback.
Yeah, he's playing really well.
All right, Zach, let's finish it off with our SEC upsets. I'm going to let you go first because you haven't picked for this team to be upset since week 1, and you were very much so right about it. So I would like for you to be right again. Who are you picking in the SEC to get upset this weekend, Zach?
I'm going to make my aunt very sad, especially if I'm right.
Oh, boy.
I have been banging the drum for Alabama. I think they are vastly improved from week 1. And I would not pick this if they were at home. But I just think that Alabama might have one of those whoopsie games, especially because everybody's starting to pump them up again.
Mm-hmm.
And unlike with Nick Saban, who considers the pumping up as rat poison, Kalen DeBoer, at least last year, kind of let it get to their heads, and then they would lose to a team like 6-6 Oklahoma, right? Well, South Carolina stinks, but they don't stink enough to like completely be out of any game in the SEC because, the SEC is so deep. Give me South Carolina over Alabama to upset the Crimson Tide.
Listen, if Lenora Sellers plays like the quarterback that everybody thinks he is,
Yep,
it could happen.
Yep.
So I'm not going to, and I think that you're right. This is an Alabama team that's not been very disciplined under Kalen DeBoer. They read their press clippings and they like what they hear. And if you're not careful, they've probably been reading my tweets where I say South Carolina is not an impressive win. And they're like, oh, well, if JR said it's not an impressive win, we don't need to take this game seriously.
Yep.
So, well, another team that has been reading my tweets, I'm sure, because this is just our luck as Big Ten fans. Okay. So, going to be kind of, I know this is like crap on the SEC segment, but this is also like doom and gloom Big Ten segment because this is just our luck at this point. Okay. Team that doesn't deserve to be ranked right now, but if they win this weekend, they're going to get re-ranked in like the top 10 or near top 10. And the team they beat will probably stay in the top 10 and you'll get like Oregon moved out. And Oregon's not getting moved out, but you'll get like some team that doesn't deserve to get moved out of the top 10 to get moved out to put LSU in there because this weekend, Texas A&M goes to LSU. LSU is favored by 2.5, or Texas A&M is favored by 2.5 this game. Zach, we can never just have an SEC team lose and get knocked out of the top 25.
Nope.
They have to, Texas did it, and then they went back and they beat Oklahoma because Oklahoma started a quarterback that still had a broken thumb or broken hand or whatever. And they got a whole bunch of credit for it. The thing I think is crazy, Zach, is everybody wants to say, "Oh, don't ding Oklahoma too much. They didn't have a healthy starting quarterback. Don't ding them too much." But then everybody wants to say, "Let's give all the credit in the world to Texas." Pick a side. Pick a side.
Yeah,
We're gonna
everything is the bias is insane.
It is insane right now, man. Not even half of the Big Ten that is 5-2 right now is ranked. Not even half. Every single team that is 5-2 or better, there are 11 Big Ten teams that are 5-2 or better. Not even half of them are ranked. Only 5 of them are ranked. Every single team in the SEC that is 5-2 or better is ranked. And so, of course, there's a whole bunch of Alabama fans out there because apparently for the first time ever, Alabama was the first team ever to beat 4 ranked teams in a row back to back to back to back weeks, which is like crazy to me that number one, a conference would have that many ranked teams to be able to do that. But it shouldn't be crazy because this is the AP poll that we live with, because teams in the SEC don't lose back to back enough for them to get knocked out. And when they do lose back to back, they're like a top 3 team, so they stay in the polls. But it's just going to be our luck. I have very little analysis on why LSU will beat Texas A&M, other than this is just our luck as Big Ten fans. They won't actually get out of the top 25. Texas will win this weekend as well, even though they're not favored against Mississippi State. They should lose because they're not good, but they're gonna probably lose this weekend as well, or win this weekend as well, and they're probably gonna stay in the top 25. Mississippi State will stay out, or they lose and then Mississippi State gets moved in.
Texas is favored against Mississippi State.
Oh, they're favored?
Yeah.
I should pick Mississippi State to be my upset then.
I thought about it.
But the one thing I will say about this game is that I do think that LSU has a good enough run defense with their linebackers and stuff. I think they'll be able to contain Marcel Reed enough. I don't know if he's going to, be completely contained, but I don't think Marcel Reed is a good thrower. I don't think he's good at throwing the football. And I think this LSU secondary is better, is good enough. I don't want to say they're good, but it's good enough to, give Marcel Reed a really tough game here. And then they'll put somebody else in the top 5 of the Heisman talk instead of Julian Sayin.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do. So
Gunnar Stockton, your time is now.
Did you see somebody put him as the quarterback of the week?
Somebody
they had like a national.
Golly.
They had like a national team of the week. It wasn't Fernando Mendoza. Terrible to be Dante Moore. Heisman Mendoza, yes, Max. It couldn't be Julian Sayin. I would have been okay with Ty Simpson. No, we have to go with Mr. Checkdown and Gunnar Stockton because he played Ole Miss, which everybody just knows is such a fantastic defense. Lane Kiffin, known for his defenses there at Ole Miss. Right, Zach?
LOL. You know who's not known for defense right now is Georgia. They stink.
No, they're not. Auburn should have won that game.
I mean, I know I want to have Doug Lamreese on the show at some point because I appreciate his analysis. Every SEC team is a fraud. It's ridiculous. And I don't have the time because I'm going to fall asleep in 5 minutes. But at some point, we just need to be real because if you actually watch the games, the amount of bad defense and mediocre quarterback play in the SEC is insane. The quarterbacks in the Big Ten are so much better than the ones in the SEC. It's insane. And the defenses look like they're peewee defenses, including Mr. Kirby Smarts. That's my TED Talk.
As you fall asleep. Well, I think that's the best place to end this episode of the Big Ten Huddle. We appreciate if you listen to all nearly 2 hours of this episode. That means you are a true Big Ten sicko. We will have stickers at some point that we will mail to all of you. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate you listening to the Big Ten Huddle. Please do subscribe before you leave. Leave us a comment after the show is over. If you're here with us live, if you are still listening, even if it's not live, kudos to you. Please do leave a comment. It greatly helps the show, and it greatly helps us to be able to put better content out there for you all. So thank you, everybody. Zach, do you have any final thoughts?
It's bedtime.
Bedtime for you and the SEC. They need to be put to bed. So see you, everybody. Have a good one.